During Rod Rosenstein's testimony today, Republican senators were gushing, complimentary as they could be, of Rob Rosenstein, despite his role in Obamagate. Listen to them.
Mr. Rosenstein, I know you've dedicated almost your entire adult life to serving at the Department of Justice, and I know you love and revere that institution and the people that work there, and rightly so.
Thank you, Mr. Rosenstein, for your service.
You were complicit in the wrongdoing, which I don't believe was the case.
I've always found you to be an honest man, and I don't think you were part of any conspiracy to get the president.
Well, my goodness, they were just taking up his time, weren't they? We'll find out what Tom Fitton thinks, the president of Judicial Watch, joining us now. Tom, that was a wonderful, warm moment in committee hearing history, wasn't it?
Yeah, you can tell those senators didn't consult with me before questioning Mr. Rosenstein. Look, he turned over the Justice Department to the president's political enemies to misuse against him and other innocents. He defended the indefensible today. We all know now that the Flynn investigation was corrupted, and it was corrupted during the Mueller operation. Yet he continued to defend the Mueller operation. And specifically, he was involved in the targeting of the president. I have a document the Judicial Watch uncovered. Actually, the Democrat asked him about it, didn't follow up on it. This is what Andrew McCabe wrote contemporaneously about a meeting he had with the Deputy Attorney General at the time, Mr. Rosenstein. As our conversation continued, the DAG, Mr. Rosenstein, proposed that he could potentially wear a recording device into the Oval Office to collect additional evidence on the president's true intentions. He said he thought it might be possible because he was not searched when he entered the White House. I told him that I would discuss the opportunity with my investigative team and get back to him. Does that sound to you like it didn't happen? Of course it happened. You had the Deputy Attorney General of the United States talking to Andrew McCabe, the top FBI official at the time, about wearing a wire and spying on the president in the Oval Office. The same documents, more documents we have from Rosenstein's own emails show that conversation about the 25th Amendment took place. And of course, all part of that discussion was appointing Mueller. So the coup was about three things: wearing a wire, invoking the 25th, and appointing a special counsel. And the special counsel was appointed, that's for sure.
Well, Rod Rosenstein is such a nice fellow, and he has. I'd like to
very personable. I met him once or twice.
No, I'm just saying, and I want you to hear what he had to say about the FBI and the Department of Justice.
Our law enforcement agencies are filled with men and women who act with integrity. It would have been preferable, Senator, to have a more politically diverse group, but if they followed the rules, their political ideology wouldn't matter. I'm fairly confident that the political bias did not enter into that investigation.
So there you are, nothing there, according to Rod Rosenstein. No wonder everybody's gushing over him. Your thoughts?
The IG wasn't confident, Lou. I mean, he suggested that Strzok's decision-making to stifle the investigation into the Wiener laptop and the emails while targeting Trump was political. He couldn't rule it out. And of course, they caught Strzok and Page with these political texts, and they were secretly removed from the Mueller operation, and that was held back from Congress for 4 months. Rosenstein says that, they were monitoring Mueller and they knew everything he was up to. Then who's responsible for it if not him? You can't have your cake and eat it too. And I appreciate the Senate's finally getting at least someone to testify. But my question is, why hasn't Mr. Rosenstein testified before a grand jury? I don't know as a target, but certainly as a witness. My gosh. And then he signed on to this FISA warrant that was withdrawn by the Justice Department as being invalid. He was utterly responsible for everything that went on, and he had no excuse. When you look at that FISA warrant, you can see it was junk. They were targeting President Trump, and he just rubber stamped it. And given the other discussions he was having
today,
given the other discussions he was having, Lou, as documented with McCabe and company, you can see why he didn't care one whit about whether the president was being spied on by these crazies in the FBI struck Page and McCabe. What a nightmare at the Justice Department.
And Comey?
What a nightmare. Comey at least at
You
that
would
point
include
was fine.
Comey in that, right?
You know, and Comey leaked material in order to get Rosenstein to hire Mueller or to hire a special counsel general. So you've got this criminal activity by the outgoing FBI director. Rosenstein's response is to, let's investigate Trump.
Well,
Don't tell me he wasn't anti-Trump. He certainly sounds like it.
You won't hear that from me, Tom, I assure you. And I was expecting today to see that Hillary Clinton was testifying under oath to one of your attorneys at Judicial Watch. What happened?
No, she wasn't testifying. She was appealing, having to testify under oath. So our attorney, Ramona Kotka, was in court yesterday arguing against Hillary Clinton's lawyer. There were 3 judges hearing the case. One of the judges was very aggressive in questioning our lawyer, but we held our ground. The Justice Department also made an appearance, Lou. And you know what the Justice Department said to the court yesterday? Well, we're just trying to get through all these lawyers. We just want to put it behind us.
Is that not amazing? Do you remember when President
Justice
Trump,
Department on behalf of the State Department?
I can remember vividly when President Trump sometimes looked chagrined when at rallies in 2016. There were chants in his rallies occasionally of "lock her up" whenever he mentioned her name, and he always looked, as I said, chagrined. And I think he came into office thinking that he could be friends with the loyal opposition. And I have to say, if any president should understand clearly what the Democratic Party has become, one would think it would be Mr. Trump. What do you expect to happen now in the Clinton case?
Well, the court's going to decide whether or not to carve out an exception to the rule of law again for her. I hope the court declines to do so. She ought to testify. You know, I don't want her specifically targeted. I just want the rule of law to prevail. I want a real investigation to take place. I want the emails to be turned over. Mm-hmm. And we're not getting much help from the DOJ and State Department on that.
Yeah, it is disappointing to hear that the State Department and DOJ are not supportive of equal application of law. That's right. Deeply frustrating. Tom Fitton, great to see you. We thank you so much. And as always, I want to point out, we thank you as well for all that Judicial Watch stands for and does for this country.